So there are three things I want to say about olive oil, the quality of olive oil. In the old days, we were starting picking November, late November, and throughout the winter, sometimes in Easter time, we would come here for vacation and we still pick olives. It was a very long process, and one by one in a bucket, kneeling down. It's not exactly pleasant either. But anyway, then in the evening you close your eyes, you see all the olives, and a massive olive that attacks you overnight. That was because the manpower was very little, of course, and they couldn't afford. As I mentioned, it's more than 50% of the cost of olive oil is picking in these kind of areas. Of course, if you go to Spain or South Italy in Puglia, where it's flat and they pick olives with machines, it's a different story. But it's also different quality. So in those days, we picked the olives that time late during the year from the ground, and then you would amass them in a room like this for a week, 10 days, maybe more. Maybe you have 3 or 4 days of rain you cannot pick, and until you have 300 or 400 kilos, you cannot go to the mill because there's no point. So, and also the old people still believe that it's good for the olive to rest a bit, and that was what we used to do until 30 years ago or something. In the late 80s, when I started to look at the farming after university, and I looked a little bit at the olive production. At the time there was a lot of new studies, and they started considering the olive tree as a normal fruit tree. For example, it was biannual, it produces 1 year and then the next year it rests. It was taken as granted, this is the olive tree. No, that's not true. The olive tree is just a normal fruit tree. If you leave the fruit on the tree until March, April, of course you cannot produce any more following year. If you harvest properly at the right time, then you will have time to, it still has a tendency to be biannual, but still you manage to have production every year. But for the quality, picking the olives that have been there for 2 or 3 months in the mold and bacteria and humid, of course, you need to realize that olive oil is the only oil that actually comes from the fruit. You take colza oil, rapeseed, whatever other oil is refined, is chemically extracted by the seed with high temperature and a processing. Olive oil is just olives, pressed, squeezed, crushed, whatever mechanical ways of extracting the juice from the olive, and you have the olive oil. If you compare to an orange juice, if you have a rotten orange, I wouldn't squeeze it, no? What do you think? You cannot improve on squeezing the orange, yeah? If the orange is bad, the juice would be bad. It's exactly the same for the olives. So we have paramount importance to have the best quality for the olives to come to the mill. So in late 80s, I came here, 88, I said, okay, to the few seasonal workers that were helping, was the family and whatever, said we don't pick from the ground, we only pick the olives from the tree. And they went, what? Look at all the olives you have on the ground. Yeah, I know, but we produce less, but we produce good oil. It was difficult. You turn my back and I see them picking the olives. No, but look, they're good. Yeah, you turn them and the bad side is rotten. No matter what, they are attacked by mold bacteria, even if you don't see. And we only pick from the tree. So we go out with nets in the morning, we lay the nets under the tree, and we just make all the olives fall on the nets. We collect the nets into crates and come to the mill. That was late 80s. They were looking at, we didn't have the mill at the time. We live in a small community here, and everybody was laughing at me because everybody knew that I was picking only from the trees. But when I went to the public mill with my olives, they went, because my olives were way better than the others. Way, way better. And they would say, oh, what did you do? I said, well, nothing. What did you give to the olives? Nothing. I just picked them from the tree. You picked the one on the ground. So 30 years later, most people don't pick from the ground. And if they do, they know, they are very much aware that the quality will be much lower. The other big important point is the time of picking. We prefer to have the olive when they are green. They are not mature. maybe the content, oil content will be a little bit less, but we don't care, because before the olives is mature, the green polyphenol, or polyphenol is the antioxidizing agents that are so good for our health in our oil, they are at the maximum content. When the olives mature, they will start decreasing, and when they are overripe in February, they have basically disappeared. And the polyphenols are very good for us because they are protecting our cholesterol and etc. But they're also protecting the oil itself. If you think about it, the oil in the bottle will, as opposed to a wine, a very good wine will become, in 10 years' time, even better. Olive oil, no, it will decay. There's a natural process. You cannot keep olive oil. If you start with the best olive oil in the world, it will keep 2-3 years, no more. Then it will gradually become virgin and etc. It will decay. But the polyphenols is the actually chemical element that will protect the oil as they protect our body as well. So oil rich in polyphenol will last longer. Will have a fresh aroma, green, a bit more bitter and pungent, but we like that kind of. The oil has to be a bit tasty, yeah? And that is a question of liking. You know, in Liguria and Genova, all that part, they start picking very late. They have a very mild oil. They're very proud of it, and they're very good at marketing it. But in Tuscany, we don't particularly look at that as a quality oil, as we say. There's nothing, but you have to think that oil is combined with food. So in Liguria, they have a lot of fish. They cook a lot of in their kitchen. They have a lot of paste or whatever. They're delicate fragrance. If they put a very strong Tuscan oil, they will just taste the oil and not the fish. So you also have to think about the combination. But so it's a question of liking, if you like more tasty or more bland, but it's a fact that the bitter olive oil will protect us better than the mild one. Also the olives, when they are green, they are more firm, they don't bruise that easily. When you pick them, when you transport to the olive mill, they preserve better and they give a better quality. And the third very important parameter is the time. As I mentioned, that we would keep the olives 2, 3, 4 weeks before going to the mill. Maybe 4 weeks, maybe not, but it's today the state of the art recommend 24 hours between picking the olives and crushing them, because the more you wait, the more fermentation process, the more decay process you have. So you need to be quick. And as I mentioned over there, since year 2000 we are certified organic. So to produce an organic olive oil, you need to have organic olives certified, but you also have to go to an organic processing unit. In year 2000 there was none around here, or one very far away, only once per week. So if you want to make quality and organic, we decided to have our own processing unit. And between us, it's also very important to have a look at what happens in the mill. I have people that go, my friends, they go to the public mill there. If you know, they work 24 hours during the season, they have to process a lot of olives. If their olives are scheduled to go in at 4 o'clock in the morning, you may be sure that those guys are there at 4 o'clock in the morning looking at their olives and making sure that the millman doesn't do any corner cut. So it's good to have the process under control. And as I mentioned, we pick up the olives in the morning. We start having olives coming in about lunchtime, more or less. I start connecting. This machine does 200 kilos of olives per hour. If we have normally, depends on the area, where it's more flat, you can pick a bit more. A good area will give you, in a day with 7-8 people, picking about 1,300 kilos of olives. So that's 6-7 hours milling. And it's a continuous process, as opposed to the old traditional method, which was in phases. This is, the olives are going here, and the oil comes out from there continuously. So I need to also to make sure that I have enough olives not to stop in the middle. Yeah? But generally, by lunchtime I start from here. I unload the olives here. This is the washing machine. We have current water that washes the olives and a fan to remove the leaves. The olives will be crushed with the skin, and all the dust on top, of course, has to be removed. And the leaves will not do any harm to the oil. They will actually add green color. And for marketing reason, green is good. And even myself, you know, I don't know anything else, I just see two oils, I'll be attracted more by the green one. But green actually is chlorophylla, and chlorophylla, we know that activated with light absorbs CO2 and release oxygen, and oxygen is the worst enemy of olive oil. So we try to avoid oxidization, so we remove the leaves, it will be less green, but it will last longer. So when the oil decays, an extra, well actually I would like to, you know the difference between extra virgin, virgin and lamp oil? Or a few words on that?
Yes.
So as I mentioned, juice is pressing olive oil is just a press juice from the olives. That means it's only a mechanical process to produce the olive oil. And those are defined as virgin oils. So virgin means that it's only mechanically pressed, squeezed, processed, mechanically processed to produce the olive oil. And there are three. Extra virgin obviously is the best one, virgin and lamp oil. Lamp oil sometimes is in 2006 or 7 something like that, a US importer sent us an email. I would like to have 400 kilos of light oil. Light oil? Thinking of Diet Coke and zero calorie. We don't produce light oil. I think you meant lamp oil, and lamp oil is so bad, it's not for human consumption. I cannot sell lamp oil, and thank God I don't have lamp oil, because it's so bad it can only be burned in lamp in the old days. So it's not edible. Saying that it will not be harmful, or I mean, if you have a season, either salad season with lamp oil, you will not be sick. You will have a bad mouth for a while, but I mean, it doesn't harm you like expired milk, for example, or whatever. It's not dangerous, and that's maybe the problem why we have so many lamp oil in the shelves. But anyway, that's another story. So if you have lamp oil, the only thing you can do is selling to a bottling company, refinery, whatever. They will process that oil, remove the defect with some chemical processing, high temperature, whatever, and then they can mix. The law says they have to mix it with virgin oil, but the law doesn't say which percentage minimum. They have to mix it, and then they can reintroduce it in the market, but they cannot use virgin word. So in the label you will see olive oil, super oil, fine oil, oil sans or whatever. They cannot use virgin because it has been processed chemically. The funny thing is that lamp oil and extra virgin olive oil at a large market, they cost a few cents difference. But anyway, there's a lot of, most of the rules are made by big multinational, by and for them, for the big multinational producers. So, for example, the test that you have to make to ensure which range you are, which class you belong, if you belong to extra virgin, virgin or lamp oil, most tests on the lab that are compulsory, they are to detect fraud, cheating, irregularities. They're not that much for quality, they just want to highlight if it's really olive oil and not hazelnut oil or whatever, if it's been treated. There's only a few indexes that are really show quality. The main one is acidity. Acidity is not something you can taste in the mouth, but it's a parameter, a content of a certain acid in the oil. Has to be less than 0.8 in order to be extra virgin. If it's more than 0.8, it will be virgin. If it's more than 1.5, it will be lamp oil, and that's directly related to the quality of the olives. If I leave the olives here 1 hour, it will be 0.3. If I leave the olives here 1 week, it will be it will be 1 point something. The oil you will taste is 0.1 this year. And between 0.1 and 0.8, there's a world of difference. In general, we say 0.3 is the threshold for good quality oil. And sometimes they ask me, why don't you put the parameter on the label? And the answer is I can't, because the law says that if I put the acidity on the label as advertising my oil is 0.1, I have to put all the result of the test, which is basically 2 A4 pages, because I have to make all the tests. So this is to avoid that people would like to. There's a very important test to ensure which class you belong, and is tasting the oil and mentioning